Bro, those standard jiu-jitsu guys.
They're fucking bad motherfuckers.
Yeah, definitely
bad motherfuckers.
That guy Greg Saunders.
Souders.
Bro,
Souders.
I'm buying it, man.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh yeah, well, there's nothing to buy.
You know, he said on some interview that sometimes people give them shit. I wouldn't understand
so
why.
much shit. Yeah.
Why?
I don't know.
What's
because jiu-jitsu guys are fucking stupid.
Drill. He doesn't. Everything is like
It's a game. Everything's a game.
I kind of like that idea.
Me too.
Honestly, to tell you the truth.
Me too.
I've been shifting the way I do things in my gym based on that.
Yeah.
I'm
doing a lot more drilling.
If you really want to trigger him, he
Trigger Greg.
yeah, I love him. But
he's autistic. He's definitely on the spectrum.
I mean, we all are. We all are. But yeah, if you just call it live drills, he's like, no, it's not live drills. It is because they have their games where they're trying to create a specific outcome. You know, so it's like you're not just fucking rolling. You know, you're rolling with a certain goal in mind. And
So live drills.
live drills.
100 grams.
Hey guys, how you doing? Kevin Gallagher and Sonny Parlin from the Old Man Grappling Hour here to talk about our #1 sponsor, the OG himself, Troy Regano from No Judges Needed. If you need any apparel, any hats, gis, shirts, anything you could possibly think of that is jiu-jitsu related, go check out No Judges Needed at nojudgesneeded.com. Troy Regano is one of my oldest training partners, one of my best friends in the world, and it is a black belt owned and operated business that's been in existence for quite a long time. They're probably one of the oldest jiu-jitsu apparel companies around. So if you're interested, go check out the OG's longtime friend of the show, Troy Regano at nojudgesneeded.com. Sonny, anything?
Yeah.
Ready?
Welcome to the Old Man Grappling Hour.
Thank you, Sonny Parlin. I appreciate that.
We
Welcome
are
to the
here.
Old Man Grappling Hour. Here we are in our $1 million storage facility / studio with our good friend and longtime friend of the show, sponsor, all of the good things, Mr. Joshua Leduc from not Three Rivers Jiu Jitsu. That's the barbecue joint. North River Jiu Jitsu. Thank you very much for coming with us, Josh. How are
Fuck
you
yourself, Kevin. make you drive up here to this fucking storage
I
unit.
know.
Yeah, it's getting hot in here.
That may be our undoing.
We can't smoke cigars.
can't
There's no
smoke
water for the talent. Like, come on. I mean,
I turned 50 and all of a sudden I'm the man now.
you know, listen, I'm fucking flying you around the country. You can't give me a fucking bottle of water?
I'm sorry about the Avion.
A little fucking blowjob, too? Come on, dude.
Well, I mean, honestly, it might be easier to get you the fucking handy than it is to get
I
you
had the
fucking-
audacity to try lighting a cigar, and Kevin jumped down my throat.
Kevin was very upset about it.
a cigar in here, so we get thrown out of our fucking studios.
It's just a lot of tin.
There's people's valuable merchandise.
We don't know that. There's
valuable
car
merchandise.
engines behind that door.
Anyway,
So you were talking about the standard guys.
Here we go.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
we're right back into
standard
standard
jiu-jitsu,
jiu-jitsu.
man. That guy, Greg Saunders.
Souders.
I was just
Greg
Souders.
Greg Souders.
so
Yeah.
really quickly before, just in case it doesn't get edited in, we were talking about Greg Souders from Standard Jiu-Jitsu and his unique take on the jiu-jitsu world and how he's basically the coach to watch in the game right now. Josh, let's continue the discussion.
Yeah. I mean, I think I made a post a couple of years ago. Sean Applegate, Greg Souders, Jay Reglabuto. Those are the three guys outside of Dana Hur.
I do remember that.
You know, like those three are bad motherfuckers. You know, like I remember when we were at East Coast, I think it was 2 cycles ago, and I was cornering Keith, and he was like, dude, this DeAndre kid, he's a bad motherfucker. And he was a little worried about having a match with him, you know, or not worried, but just like, you know, this is going to be a tough match.
What's his last name?
DeAndre Corby.
Corby.
Right,
Yeah.
Corby, right.
Corby.
Yeah, DeAndre and Gavin. DeAndre won our first qualifier, and he just won trials. He beat Keith in the finals. But yeah, like I remember watching him at East Coast, and I think that was 2021. You know, and then people had been talking about him before that, but just to see the rise now, you know, it's definitely a testament to what Greg's doing, because both him and Gavin are killers.
So we talk about like what he's doing.
Yep.
Like, let's talk a little bit more specifically about. I'm just curious about the whole thing because jiu-jitsu is just, you know, I'm a dinosaur. You know, I mean, I am trying my best because I want to stay relevant and I want to make sure that my team is staying relevant with the new stuff. And I'm peeking about piece by piece to new stuff. But like some of the things, it almost changes my entire philosophy on how I teach jiu-jitsu. Like, what are some of the things that these new guys, particularly Greg, is doing that's different than everybody else?
it's just he doesn't call it
It's live drilling.
Slack drill.
Here they come. Here they come. But they call it the ecological approach to jiu-jitsu because, like, fuck, you would know this. You're a smart guy, Sonny.
Am I?
The Montessori approach to education, right?
What?
The Montessori approach to education. That's basically what I'm pretty sure it's Montessori. Correct me.
I was sick that day.
I don't know exactly what a Montessori
But anyways,
is, but I get
it's
the
like
idea.
the standard approach, not standard because that's standard jiu-jitsu, but that's what everyone's doing from colleges, elementary schools, and it's how people normally teach a skill. Ecological is a little bit different. I haven't gone down that rabbit hole too much. I see what they're doing. I see it's working. I listen to what Greg does. I haven't done any of the fucking research he's done and all the fucking books and like high level philosophy guys that talk about it. But it's task-based games is basically what it comes down to. Like they don't drill, they do not live drills, games with a task-based approach where they're trying to get a certain outcome and they're just trying to get as many live reps as possible. And I mean,
You just
kinda-
described live drilling perfectly.
yeah, exactly. Thank you.
Right.
But I mean, like
but that's not what it is.
to an extent, like it's what Rob was talking about with the 70-30 rule. You know, like 70% of the time rolling people lower than you. But like when you do that, you have to have something you're working on. You have to have an end game, right? So if I just beat up on white belts and do a bunch of million random shit, it's not as effective as I beat up on white belts trying to hit one thing over and over and over, like working an arm triangle for mount, dismounting, and then taking him off to the side of that Rob Khan's side arm triangle. If you do that 100 times on white belts, blue belts, and purple belts, very similar to what they're doing with the standard.
But this isn't new because this is stuff that Rob Kahn, for instance, has been preaching
I don't
forever.
think it's new. I think it's just, and I mean, I don't think Greg has ever said he's the guy that made the ecological approach because people have been doing this forever in a million different sports. It's just not the mainstream way to learn and do things. The mainstream way, I mean, you guys remember come in, warm up, 30 minutes of specific drilling. That shit didn't always like connect and then roll. You know, now we're come in, at least for me, like I run a class where, okay, you got 15 minutes of dynamic warm-ups, then we're working skill specific wrestling for 10 to 15 minutes, and then we're getting into 45 minutes of specific drilling with our goal in mind of winning ADCC, and then we'll hit, 4 to 6 rounds, ADCC rules, then we're out.
That's not
in
a
and out.
normal class, or is that a competition?
Well, that's my pro class. I mean, I only really teach the pro classes now, but they're all task-based games. So like they'll come in with a goal in mind, and he'll put them in different scenarios, run through with multiple different partners, and just keep going. But you should probably talk to him again. I'm just the guy that puts their guys on cards.
and it's funny too because that's not just coming from Greg. Like Gordon has talked.
Yeah, Gordon, Danaher, they all talk about it's a lot of situational drilling. What the Danaher guys do, bad position drills. It's not a lot of
Situational drilling, I think, is a great way. That's how I run my private lessons.
yeah.
It's how I literally make people better in the span of an hour.
I think the problem is people don't want to be put in bad positions, and it's like even high level guys. Like I love them, Dylan, Danny, and John. Like none of them like being put in bad positions. No one likes being put there. So like as a coach, you got to kind of force those guys to do it. And like doing it in private lessons, like imagine a fucking 40-year-old accountant. It's like I don't have my fucking back taken for 30 minutes, but like you're not gonna get better unless you do that.
And the philosophy behind that is if you're someone that's the best guy in your gym and you're rolling every day, or the best guy in the room and you're rolling every day, like there's not going to be a whole lot of opportunities where you're in those bad positions.
Yeah.
Now, when you go up to that next level and everyone is the best guy in the gym, guess what? They're going to put you in those bad positions unless you're accustomed to fighting out of them and being prepared to deal with what comes on with that with someone that knows what they're doing.
Yeah.
You kind of crumble.
And then on the flip side too, it makes you more aggressive knowing like you've been in these bad positions for the past 6 years in the gym with the best guys in the gym, taking your back, choking you, all that fun shit.
Right.
Then you're not afraid to take chances.
It's so funny, man. One of my big philosophies on teaching particular dynamics is like if you want to become a better guard passer, then you learn how to play off your back a little bit better and vice versa. And the reason is because now you intuitively understand what that person is trying to do in order to pass your guard. And the same philosophy applies to these bad positions because now when you're in a bad position, you are more willing to be able to give up opportunities, go for extra sweeps, go for that submission, take a chance because it might end up with you in a bad position because you're so cool with the ability to be able to return your guard or get back to a better position that now, because of that, you become better at taking those chances and swinging the bat and finishing.
Yeah, 100%.
It's also better for old guys because, like, if you're like a 50-year-old man grappling against some 25-year-old stud who's also a black belt, like you're not going to be able to keep up with his pace. So you might as well just get used to getting your back taken and getting out of it and fighting out from there, or fighting from bad positions, because that's how you're going to win anyway.
Yeah, 100%. Like, I haven't gotten to roll with the comp guys as much over the last 14 months because we've just been getting ready for competitions nonstop, and it's not necessarily beneficial for them to roll with me over and over. But today was like first day since ADCC trials where I get to roll with them again. You know, it's like Dylan, Danny, I'm not fucking keeping up with those guys. They're 145 pounds and fast. Like, pass my guard. Fucking do whatever you want. I'm not fucking wait for you to slow down, grab a hold of you, and then fucking make you pay for it.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly.
Like,
that's how I find myself getting the better of younger black belts.
Yeah.
Is by letting them in uncomfortably too close, and then figuring out a way to make that into something.
Yeah, they're like puppies. You got to let them run it out a little bit. That was the entirety of my competition game for the last 10 years. Like, go ahead, do whatever you got to do. I got 30 seconds and I'm going to score. And that war, you're going to make a mistake and I'm going to capitalize on it. And it was boring, but you know what? That's what I had to do to survive.
But it worked.
But it worked.
3-time world champion.
But yeah, it's really difficult.
It's good to be recognized.
It's very difficult to be, you know, in your 50s and then try to keep up with a John Combs pace.
Yeah.
It's just
Dude, I'm turning
very
30. I'm younger than John, but like I'm big, I'm broken. I'm not gonna fucking keep up with him. Like, I love John. I haven't rolled him in probably like 6 months. I'm going to this week, but like anytime I roll with him, it's just like I'm gonna do nothing. I'm not gonna let you submit me, and then you hear the ventilator come on where he's like,
you know quite a bit about these coaches, and it's one thing that I've always respected. But first of all, like before we go any further, like I can't tell you, and throughout the years, I love to say this because there was always times when I was like, fucking Josh. Josh Leduc kind of has this aura around him, but it's undeniable your knowledge. It's undeniable your desires. It's undeniable the research that you put into this.
Can't fuck with me, Kevin Gallagher. Can't fuck with me.
I can't anymore. You're taking me on trips around the freaking country. I gotta kiss your ass now. I gotta jump on the Star Lord.
You know what it is? You know what it is? I'm finally turning 30. People are putting some respect on my fucking name.
On my, you didn't have to beat up some freaking teenager to get it either.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that being said, you know a lot of these guys. Like you talked about Jay Lorbudo, you talked about Sean Applegate. Are there differences in their approach between the three coaches, or are you seeing the similarities as far as how they're approaching with the drilling and the positional attributes in the different sets up?
I think they all do it a little bit differently.
Yeah.
But the content of what they do is the same. And like when I'm looking at the other great coaches, you know, and it's like, where's the similarities, you know? And not just in our sport, but all the sports. You know, it's like, where are the similarities? Perfect example, like a law in combat sports, fucking keep your elbows in. When do they show you in Muay Thai or boxing or wrestling or jiu-jitsu to fucking flare your elbows, right?
Right.
It's a law. Same thing with when you're looking at it from coaching perspective. Like, where are these guys all doing something similar? If they're all doing something similar, that's something we should probably be doing. You know, like no one's fucking reinventing the wheel.
No.
You know, it's just, I mean, you guys have been around long enough to know, like, everything that's old is new. You know, it all fucking comes back around. We're kind of getting away from the leg lock game now. Now it's like the wrestle up was big for the last couple years. Now people are starting to play a little bit more like reverse close guard. They're playing like these weird positions, but it's also a really heavy wrestling attack with body lock back to the Popovich shit. Yeah. Very nice, Sonny.
Yeah, you can think he's just Sonny smoking cigars, leaving his phone on. This fucking asshole. Anyway, so it's funny you say that because this weekend I just went to see Jason Rao at Robbie's.
Yeah, he was up here.
And then the same thing when I went the last two fairly high-level seminars I went to, Jason Rao and then Budini, Giovanni Budini, right?
Giancarlo Bodoni.
Yeah, that guy.
Why do I hire you as a commentator? Giovanni Budini.
I'm so hard. I love you folks at home. I apologize.
Gary Tunin.
I'm working on this. But the funny thing I noticed is that those two seminars, two really high-level competitors, like you would think they're going to show these crazy leg entanglements, these amazing rolling back takes. They showed guard passing.
Yeah.
And it's funny that you see now that even in the days when there was a time and a place when we needed to go for these leg locks and all these crazy things and kind of open the game up because it changed the game.
Yep.
It always comes back to the basics, climbing that ladder, positional dominance, getting to the back.
Yeah, I think now it's man, you guys are fucking roll today.
We're all over the place.
Congratulations to Werther Marcialis. He had a baby.
Oh yeah, a couple days ago. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
He's now a Fava.
Werther Marcialis the fourth.
Yeah, let's go Werther.
Yeah, let's go Werther. Yeah, named it after himself and his dad and his grandpa.
Right.
Something weird about that, but I told Werther I'm going to call the baby Quattro because he's the fourth. So, yeah. Anyways, yeah, I mean, everything stays the same. It's all positional dominance. I think now that people understand leg locks more, it's realizing that leg locks are part of the hierarchy, and then realizing the hierarchy in leg locks as well, and how they connect to guard passing, how they connect to back taking, wrestling up, all that stuff, So, like, for me, I really tell the guys, like, they're young, like, outside of John, Danny, Dylan, like, our purple belt, up and comers, blue belts, stuff like that, really focus on three things, like from the bottom, three things every position, If we're on the bottom, we're breaking a leg, we're coming up on top, or we're taking the back, As you get better, you can add in arm locks,
The tree.
chokes, the tree, but like keep it simple, three things.
Right.
And it all leads up to the back.
Yeah.
That's what it comes down to. It's like, if you can get to the back, it's over.
And it's funny, the more I watch these high-level matches and the more you see these high-level guys, it's exactly what they're doing now.
Yeah, and especially in ADCC, because like Turtle is forced because of points, and then like if you do a study on the percentage of submissions across the board, inside heel hooks, rear naked chokes, and then arm bars are kind of after that with outside heel hooks. But like over 75% of the submissions are inside heel hooks and rear naked chokes, So like if you look at that, funnel everyone into that, and then find the scoring positions off of it.
And then figure out ways to build from one to the other.
Yeah.
It's that I watched that instructional with Gordon, the back take to the guard pass to the.
I've literally never watched a Gordon instructional
you
or
know
a Danaher instructional. Actually, I
funny,
think I watched the
man.
Danaher back.
Gordon's
series,
better
but
than
that's it.
Danaher. Danaher is, I love John Danaher, maybe kind of, but Jesus, man, it's like 8 hours where it could be 2.5, and it's literally like, I get it. I don't really need the meta on why your hand functions.
I've only had two. I've had the Danaher leg lock DVD and the Gordon passing DVD.
But it's funny when you watch these DVDs. That first of all, they're very good at breaking down what perceives to be complex positions and techniques, but you recognize it's really nothing that you don't already know. It's just the way they present it to you. Like everybody knows an inside heel hook. It's just the idea of
Well, it's the system.
it's the system and how they work together, and now it triggers the brain to start looking for the different positions. But the back take to the guard pass or the wrestle up.
Yeah, but I think that's where the ecological guys have it right, because like just like anything else in life, it's not black and white. It's not drilling versus not drilling. I think you need to do both, Not that you need to. Obviously, Greg's showing that his guys can do it without the drilling. But for most learners, I think you need to drill. And then I think you need to be put in these situations where you can use the skills that you just learned and figure out how they put together. It's the transitions. Jiu-jitsu's in the transitions, So like you can understand that, okay, I'm going for an inside heel hook on the pin side. If he hides his heel, I'm going to climb to take his back. If he puts his back on the mat, now I'm on top with my head on his shoulder, scoring a reversal. But if you don't have the transition details and the reps in the transition, you're not going to get it. You can understand it, but you're not going to do it. And that's where the ecological
It's
shit
funny,
comes
man.
in.
I struggle a lot with that because I'm old school.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like there was no drilling. We taught a little bit. You fucked off for a second, and then you went live roll, and that was it. And like, there's a part of me that loves that because that's fun.
Yeah.
And like, I want people to come to my gym and have fun. I got old dudes to come train.
If you want to have a business, you don't want to be
Right.
making competitors.
Right.
Like
So it's the hard line that I'm trying to go back and forth. And I believe in the philosophy of my particular modality of coaching is there's two particular sides to jiu-jitsu. There is the incredibly technical aspects of jiu-jitsu. And then there's the hard fought battle, like there's a stick on the ground. Who's going to get that damn stick?
Yeah, I tell my guys it's the beast and the scientist, right? And you got to be able to have both of
You're
them.
going to be able to have both.
And also in competition, like you want to beast the scientist, right? You want to fucking make him uncomfortable, right? And then the wrestling beasts, you want to be a little bit more of a scientist, make him back up, make him make mental mistakes and capitalize on it. So it's finding that balance between two of it. And John did a great job this year because we did a shit ton of opens with the guys, and John was running into these really good wrestlers for the entire year, and
Which is saying a lot because John's
he's a phenomenal wrestler. And like,
I think he was.
Yeah, he was. And previous versions of John Combs would have banged heads with these
He's old.
wrestlers,
He's old now, broken.
No, No, he's 32. He's 30. He's going to his prime. Listen, he's finally listening. He's finally fucking listening is what it is. But like previous iterations of John Combs would have banged heads, forced the guillotine, tried to wrestle the wrestler. You know what he did? He fucking pulled guard, made these guys back up, made them get warnings. Because, I mean, you know, you roll with John. Like, his guard is one of the best things he has.
Before Vomitus and Furious, he was actually really doing well. And I wanted to ask you about his game plan.
Right?
Andy Varela.
And Varela.
Yeah, I got you. Go ahead.
I wanted to ask you about his game plan because one of the things I noticed about Combs this time around in the trials was he wasn't looking for submissions. He was, I think he might have been looking for them. He was
going with guys that didn't want to get submitted, though.
Well, it seemed to me like he was very conscious of his positional game.
Yes.
This time.
Yeah.
You know, like he was very, very like on point with it, looking at the score. You know, it seemed like he was very focused on, you know, his positional jiu-jitsu. And I'm wondering, what was his mindset? Was that what he was trying to do going in?
John, the thing with John is he's like in the best physical shape he's ever been in right now. And he's melting people. You know, like he really peaked technically and physically. So like going in there, the game plan is pretty much the same. Find the back, you know, find the back, find the neck, especially with John. And then defend the leg locks to get to the back, to get to the neck, you know. And he had a really tough run because he lost to Alan Sanchez twice. He had lost to Ethan Vistro once. And these are guys that he beat along the way. So he got to have revenge on those guys. So it was a little bit more controlled approach. And it was also like in his first match, the guy was super dangerous. He racked up like 16 points, didn't get the sub, but like he was up 16-0. So for us, it's like, let the points create opportunities to make a sub, you know? So if you score, they're going to have to make mistakes, you know? And a lot of these guys just didn't want to get subbed, you know? So, and not that that's a bad thing, but they'd rather lose 3-0 than get
Bernardo
choked.
Fario said that one time. He was at the time, he was, you know, one of the best guys
phenomenal.
in the world. He's phenomenal. And he kind of got a bum rap for being a points guy.
Yeah.
But if you look at the actual numbers, he finished quite a few of his competitors.
Yeah.
And he would say like, the best way to get to a submission is to get your guy down 10-0.
Yeah.
Now he has to take chances.
Well, I think the best way to get to a sub is get a guy down 2-0 where he still thinks he can come back, you know, because with John, he's obviously his most deadly thing is his guillotine. You know, after that, it's a rear naked choke. He's got a great triangle, got a great ankle lock, heel hook, all this shit. But when you're up 3-0 on their back and they're not giving you any opportunities to get on the neck and they have to escape, you know, and they're not selling out, it's really hard to fucking dig under these guys' big ass fucking necks and shit like that. So I don't think it was an approach to just rack up the points and win on points. It was like, let's get ahead on the scorecard knowing, hey, it's a 6-minute match. They're going to have to make a mistake and then we're going to get the sub. They just didn't make any mistakes.
And it seems like a lot of sub-only guys, when they move into more of a point setting, like a lot of Gracie Tampa guys have this problem where they're going so hard for the kill that they sacrifice everything and die on their sword.
Yeah, I think,
you know,
I think it's just a shift now. Like if you want to win ADCC, it's ADCC or nothing else. You know, like you have to recognize that. Yes, it's a long season. We were preparing 14 months for West Coast trials. You know, obviously East Coast is in there as well, but we did a shit ton of opens. We did a shit ton of ADCC rules. These guys had over an 80% submission rate between the three of them. You know, we had gotten medals across tons of opens and just probably had more experience in ADCC rules than pretty much everyone except for Big Dan and the standard guys, you know.
I'll tell you right now, Dylan's gotten a lot better.
Dylan's gotten so much better.
Oh my God.
Yeah, Dylan looked phenomenal, you know. But if you're not preparing for ADCC year long, you're not going to win ADCC. It's so complex, you know, like, and like, dude, I love the Grace Tampa guys. I love all those guys, but like, you can't do an 8-week camp in ADCC rules and expect to win ADCC when you got guys.
You have to know them rules.
Yeah.
The rules are
like, if you look at the guys that have made day 2, they were all doing opens, right? If you guys look at the guys who medaled, they were all doing opens, you know, minus Keith. But Keith is just a fucking freak of nature. You know,
and
but the rest
B-Team totally lived up to their name at this.
Yeah, all silvers, all silvers. But you just got to be doing it, man. Now that they're doing the opens, there's no excuse to not do them and not get seeded and not get points.
This is interesting because you recently switched over the Sapatiero from some. You were a long time EBI overtime, maybe some sub only, no time limit stuff, but mostly majority submission only matches, and you switched over to the ADCC. So here's kind of like my question with that. Like, I always have this argument and it's something that always makes
With
me
yourself?
crazy. With myself. Nah, with anyone that'll listen. All right. But I always ask myself, like, I know that submission only grappling served a purpose because it really did. I never in a million years would never take away what Eddie Bravo did with EBI over time. It brought the game to a next level that jiu-jitsu sorely needed 10 years ago.
Yep.
Like it was like watching paint dry.
Yep.
Two guys working for the takedown, getting past the guard, hugging for their dear life, and then they're getting their hand raised. Maybe every once in a while you had some outliers like freaking whatever, Roger Gracie and other guys going that were submission minded. So it opened the game up. But moving forward, there's something about watching a submission only match, and I know jiu-jitsu. Like I know what they're doing. I know what's going on. And it's just like watching paint dry.
Yep.
Like it is the most boring, freaking unmotivational. Like I don't care what anybody says. And if I know what's going on and I'm confused and lost, imagine someone that has no fucking clue what's happening, that's there to watch their kid, that has to sit through a match. Like, do you think there's any place moving forward to advance the sport with submission only?
I think there's always gonna be a place for it, but like Eddie's trying to change the rules. He was doing I think he was doing 6 or 8 minute first rounds in this last combat jiu-jitsu. It's just tough, because like they're trying.
Combat jiu-jitsu is a little bit different, though.
It's a little bit different.
Smack him
a little
in the
bit
face.
different,
It
but
adds
even
a little extra layer.
Yeah, but it's not catching on like EBI did.
No.
I think it really comes down to matchmaking. Like any rule set can be boring with boring grapplers.
Yeah.
And a rule set can be entertaining with entertaining grapplers. But 10 minutes is too long. It's easy to stall overtime. You need some real stalling calls, and then, I mean, honestly, that's why we switched to the 6-minute trials rules. They're the most exciting matches, like if you look at that last card, the amount of people that told me that was the most exciting event they've been to, like no brainer.
The only thing I would change about the ADCC rule set is in the finals matches, allow the guard pull.
Yeah.
During the no points.
I agree with that. Like it just makes, especially when you got guys that are
because it doesn't
guard
make
players.
sense. You pull guard before points turns on and you get a negative point.
Yeah, but it's trying to entice action. I kind of get the idea.
I get the idea.
Yeah, but
understand
two
the
jiu-jitsu
philosophy
guys
behind it.
wrestling,
Yeah.
it's like watching
Would you
fucking
rather
old
watch
people
two
fuck.
double guard pulls, or would you rather watch two shitty wrestlers? I get it. Like,
But
they're both bad,
I think the point that should be made here about the differences between submission only and points matches. The same thing I always talk about is that the reality of life is that when you're sitting in the actual stadium and you have no fucking clue what's happening, or even if you know what's going on, there is an extra a layer of tension when you recognize the score.
Yeah.
When you know that this person is down, there's drama. Like this person is down by 2 points.
Yep.
This person has to get those 2 points back. Because this person has to get those 2 points back, this person has to defend that. And maybe while they're defending, an opportunity opens up for it's tangible things that people in the audience could recognize and watch. And I think it's the one thing, believe me, I love submission only. It's the one thing that submission only misses is that extra layer of drama.
Yeah, like as a competitor, I want no time limit, sub only, because it works for my style, and it's also the most pure form. As a promoter, I want action.
Yeah.
And what action comes is 6 minutes, ADCC rules. Like, do I think they can make ADCC rules better? Maybe, but I think what's really important is getting everyone under a unified rule, so like whether it's ADCC rules, I hate the IBJJF rules. Like they're getting better with obviously they got
Loud heel hooks.
and
things
reaping
like
and stuff like that, but 10 minutes is still too long, like you need a
Advantages
unified
are
rule sets.
complicated.
And I think in the future, you're going to see sub only with judges or ADCC.
They're already starting to do that with the WNO, with the different. I don't mind the WNO.
Yeah, and
I
like,
still
dude,
like points better.
Like I still fucking hate flow, but listen, the fucking last who's number one and the one before, they were pretty good.
Yeah.
Like they're coming together. Fight Pass is
Right.
doing their own thing, but I think you need to either do ADCC rules or you need to do judge's decision.
It's common sense. Like if you look at where jiu-jitsu really jumped off the cliff, it was after the last ADCC World Championship with Gordon and Andre Galval.
Yeah, and honestly, dude, Gordon definitely has a huge role in it, but like if it wasn't for Mo, like this shit would not be happening.
Mo is
like you remember ADCC 2012 in China.
Yeah.
Like listen, Look at that shit. Look at the shit in Brazil.
Well, look
you
at
know?
all of them except for the last one.
Yeah, the last few. Of them, you know, like
exactly.
Yeah, it's fucking hard to put into words what they've done for the sport. You know.
So moving right along, we kind of touched on
Moving
the
right along.
Yeah, we touched on the IBJJF a little bit. Like the IBJJF is, I don't think they're completely defunct.
No, they're definitely not defunct. I mean, they're still putting out tournaments with $40,000 paydays.
Exactly.
You know, but
and they're
like,
still like the Masters Worlds. You know, in the gi is still honestly one of my favorite things.
yeah, and dude, like we talked about it, I got IBJJF certified because of my old guys. You know, like
exactly.
Where else are you gonna get matches for old guys that are
that are
that good?
Exactly. You take them to a Copa, maybe you get lucky. There's
Yeah.
another dude, or you're probably just going to put him in a weight class up, or a younger.
Yep.
younger
I get it
weight
for
class
kids.
down.
I get it for old guys. Like juveniles and old guys, and go do IBJJF. You want to be a professional grappler? ADCC.
They need to lower their fees, though. I'm not
Yeah,
going to pay
it's annoying.
upwards of $1,000 just so my school can be recognized by them. They
I'm
can go
still
fuck
a
themselves.
probationary black belt.
Yeah,
according to them. So
it's about $1,000 altogether.
Yeah.
I got mine because I competed as a black belt.
yeah,
and we both did. Sonny, you
Yeah.
could get yours too because we competed as a black belt 6 years ago. So I
Yeah.
was proactively allowed. I was on the books as a black belt.
But I
It
looked
cost
myself
like
up on their
$1,000.
system, and I'm not on there. I didn't see my name.
you probably didn't re-register.
You'd be in there if you went in there and told them. They'll look it up.
Oh.
Yeah, but if you really want to, which I know you don't.
No.
So, kind of continuing on with that, like you hear a lot about the idea of.
I think Sapatiero should have belt rankings and all that shit.
Start charging a cartel fee like they do. Like, yeah, we should.
So you talked a lot about, I know your gym. You call yourself American Jiu Jitsu, and there's this new idea of American Jiu Jitsu. So tell me what you define for me the difference between Brazilian Jiu Jitsu and American Jiu Jitsu.
Everything is the same. We just don't bow.
Yeah,
Pretty close.
pretty much it.
Well, you know
I
what-
won't say what I wanted to say, but I'll be
You know what
nice.
Americans do, right? We fucking take everything else and we make it better. You know, so it's literally. And I say that as like, I was born in Canada, dual citizen, but I'm a fucking American. Like I went back to Canada. I am not fucking Canadian anymore. Like I see those fuckers. Like you look at Max and
You're a
Dante.
dual citizen?
Yeah,
I
yeah.
never
My mom
knew
was.
that.
Yeah, my mom was born in the U.S. I was born in Canada, so I'm
I bet
naturalized
if you blow
citizen.
Your ACL out there, you're going back to Canada. real
No,
quick.
fuck no. Fuck no. You want to stay in those fucking hospitals up there? Come on, bro. But no, I mean, for me, American Jiu-Jitsu, I had it written out too. I have it on the wall somewhere. It's a combination of wrestling, sambo, catch, judo, jiu-jitsu. Put it all together. Take what works, leave what doesn't. You know, and that's American Jiu-Jitsu. It's without the gi, none of the fucking bowing, none of the fucking hierarchy bullshit. You know, I got a picture of Baby Yoda in a gi on top of my wall, like Helio. He's got a fucking red belt, dude.
But I love you for that.
Dude, I'm gonna fucking post that later. He's got a red belt, Baby Yoda, up on the wall. So yeah, we don't bow
Send
to
me that
pictures.
picture. We're gonna stick that.
Yeah.
We're gonna stick that in the notes.
We don't bow to fucking pictures on the wall. You know, we take what works and leave what doesn't. You know,
Yeah.
and that's about it. I mean, it's a shit we've been doing for fucking 10 years. You know, like luckily, and I'm not gonna like suck my dick too much, but like when we started Sapatiero, we got access to a lot of high level guys. So our area has gotten exponentially better because of that access to high level guys.
Right.
You know, so like 2016 was the first one. I started planning in 2015. So in 2016, Gordon came into town. Gary came into town. You guys had him. Matt had him. You know, anytime second one, Taza was in town. Craig Jones was in town. Nathan Orchard was in town. They all did seminars. You know, so from 2016 on, we got to experience the cutting edge. You know,
And that's cool that we're able to you are able to recognize these guys. Like, well, Gary Tonin was already a name, but like,
Gary was-
Gordon and Taza and, Craig Jones is like, we had these guys all in.
like, dude, Jason
And
Radley taught a
now-
seminar over here.
Yeah.
Like
Why?
to get Gordon in for a seminar would cost
Yeah.
so
Did
much
You have
money.
you have
Yeah, I had Jason Rowland. He won the 185 in Kentucky. You remember the one where I got super drunk and I was like, I'm done.
The one where you fought a tree.
Where I fought a tree. Yeah, he won that one. Jason won a couple of them, and he made that connection with these guys because that shit. But point being, we've been doing American Jiu-Jitsu for 10 years because we've been around with those guys. You know, the rest of the country, they're still catching up. They're doing great. There's a lot of great jiu-jitsu out there, but it's still crazy to me that there's still probably 60% of the jiu-jitsu community that's in the gi, I'm not doing leg locks, not doing any of these loose passing to tight passing to back
because
taking.
there's some Brazilian demagogue that runs the place.
Well, it's not even Brazilians anymore. Like you see a lot of these old white dudes that just don't want to.
They all got their lineages from the old Brazilians.
Yes, but it comes down to you don't want to evolve. You know, like you're talking about, you have to stay on top of it. You have to stay on top of it. I have to stay on top of it. If I didn't tape study, if I didn't go out and help these guys get ready for competition, I would be running a fucking Valente self-defense school because I want to make a shit ton of fucking money. You know, like you want to make money, you don't need to stay on top of it. But if you want to make good competitors, you have to stay on top of it. And if you take 6 months off, you fall behind. You know, it's hard.
And you know, I think one of the cool ways of staying up with the meta is by watching like these latest tournaments.
Yeah, you know? I match study. I don't watch any instructionals. It's all tape study.
You know,
and I really enjoyed watching the West Coast trials because it really showed. It was funny because Dylan's been doing this upside down fucking guard.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what are you fucking doing? And then that's how Tackett beat fucking
the back.
You know, what
do they call that?
Reverse
lock?
close guard.
The A block. The A block.
Yeah.
That was the whole
Yeah,
thing.
so I thought
we
that
were
was
working that
funny.
today.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, well, this is how you're getting the meta.
Listen,
it's just watching what these guys
you'll
are doing.
clip this
out
up.
there.
Like if you're not at least understanding reverse close guard, come next cycle of trials, you're going to be fucking behind. You're going to be getting scored on.
so
Because
crazy.
if you start on bottom and you hit a reverse close guard sweep to reverse mount, which is a scoring position, I'm going to double check with Mo and Jay, but I'm pretty sure you get a clean sweep, which is 4 points, and then you're going to get your reverse mount points, which is 6 points. So then you're up 6-0, and that's a death sentence in an ADCC match.
6 points down. You better submit.
So like if you're not at least understanding reverse close guard and the entries now, like it's going to be fucking tough. But yeah, Dylan's on top of that shit. You know, we were working it this morning. I had him show some of that stuff, and then I'm just taking and adding it to our game plans now.
And to touch a little bit on the idea of saying that, if you want to just open your gym up, I would open up and teach, combatives and not have to worry about evolving.
Yeah.
Like I kind of disagree with that a little bit, and I'll tell you why.
You're wrong, Kevin.
I'll
tell you why you're wrong. When you're done.
I know, but believe me, I got tons of old dudes that I teach. Don't get me wrong, believe me. But the reality of it is now jiu-jitsu was more than just all the Brazilians that came over then can sit around with their belts tied and say a little prayer to Halio, so you have to bow and cower to them, because there's lots of jiu-jitsu around. And the people that now have notoriety, the people that now have put out champions into the world, newbies out there know this. People that are looking for gyms aren't just looking for the guy that trained under Halio or some dude that thinks he's Halio, right? They're looking at, okay, what credentials do you have as a competitor that would want me to give you money?
Such bullshit. Nobody gives a fuck about what anyone did.
Listen,
you have a personality. You could teach whatever you want. You could teach Taekwondo and you're going to have fucking 150 students. You got a personality. If you want to teach Taekwondo or fucking karate, you'll have. Why are there still after school karate
opening up
programs?
a Taekwondo school right now.
Yeah, listen, like you could teach whatever the fuck you want. You could teach the fucking the Shiv Works stuff. Like if you have a personality, you care, you're not a piece of shit, and you have marketing.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter.
You're right.
Fucking
right. Maybe it gets in the door.
You know how many people come to me that actually pay me for my role as a coach for competitors? None of them. You know, the money's made in the fucking kids. Money's made with the 9-to-5ers. Like it doesn't fucking matter.
It doesn't hurt though.
No, it hurts. It hurts. I fucking lose so much money because I just fucking travel with these guys.
I mean, it's like, there's a certain person, I'm not going to say his name, but you all know who I'm talking about, a certain black belt that's an ADCC veteran that was
I gave him a fist bump at trials.
Surprisingly at trials.
Yeah.
But, a guy like that, he's a high level, he's black belt. He's got a very reputable
You know
lineage.
why though? Because he fucking complains. No one wants to listen to him.
Let me finish my thought.
Okay, go ahead.
So you have a guy who's a black belt. Yeah. He's got incredible lineage. He's got credentials up the ass.
100%.
If that's all you needed, he could go start a gym.
Exactly.
But you're
He's
right.
failed twice.
When you talk about what you need to run a gym, it's the credentials are the last thing.
Yeah.
What
have I done? What have you done?
Right.
Exactly.
I lost to Oliver Taza. Very publicly.
Like I've won some bullshit. I've broken some people's legs. I'm a really good competition coach, but if my Google ads aren't fucking running, my student count drops. If my fucking Facebook ads aren't running, my student count drops.
Right.
Why? Because, and this goes back to the business side with like fucking all these jiu-jitsu bums complaining about ADCC and shit like that. No one knows how to run a business. You know how to run a business. You know how to run a business. I know how to run a business. Jiu-jitsu guys don't know how to fucking do their taxes, Like, they don't know how to fucking get healthcare. Like, they're fucking retarded.
Right.
the guy that is going to pay you money isn't the competitor. The guy that's going to fucking come in, it's the perfect student. You want a 40-year-old with like $100,000 to $120,000 a year, a fucking family that's going to sign their kids up, and you want them to fucking be on auto pay and go to government.
Credit card, and they're not going to think twice about the $200.
And you know what? You know what fucking brings that guy in? A guy with a great personality who's not a piece of shit, who's going to motivate them. Maybe they want to get in shape. And you got a community.
Shows up when he's supposed to be there. The lights turn on. You get no bullshit going on. Not high when he walks in the door. I don't know, maybe something.
Every once in a while. Every once in a while.
You know what's crazy? My gym went through the roof when I stopped drinking on the mats.
It's money, bro.
Oh, what?
All grown up now. Yeah. That's cool. We can talk about that a little bit. So Craig Jones.
I like how Kevin fucking like had all these questions, and he's just like, I'm not going over my questions anymore. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about this.
All right, we got them all.
All right, so you said Craig Jones.
So Craig Jones is Craig Jones, and there's a lot of times when I think Craig Jones is the greatest. I still think that his thing about just being autistic enough to be a jiu-jitsu savant when he was taking the vaccine. Through my 8th vaccine. Going around. I think that's one of the funniest things I've ever seen in history. But he's coming after Mo.
I don't think he's coming after. Listen, Craig is one of the few guys that is criticizing ADCC, but he's backing it up. He's doing a seminar, and he's going to take all the profits and give it to guys that lose on day one.
Right.
So, like...
Is that what he's criticizing ADCC for?
He's criticizing ADCC... So there's this whole group of people that's criticizing ADCC for basically getting the T-Mobile arena, and they're criticizing that the pay hasn't gone up, and that like they're spending all this money on production, venue, all this stuff, rather than just putting it in the same venue as last year and paying the athletes more.
So I will say one thing, and I don't want to interrupt you, but I will for a second. So I was at the old UNLV stadium, and when they told me they were moving from there to T-Mobile, I was like, that's really cool, but how many more seats are there?
It's pretty much the same size.
Pretty much the same. So it's really, they're paying that extra premium just for the allure. So I can kind of understand.
I'm going to tell you why they're
doing
it.
Tell me. That's curious. Yeah.
Listen, and I talked to him about this. He's come out and publicly saying.
So quickly, before we had an issue with the problem Craig is saying is the same thing, that the number of seats in the old UNLV, I forget what it's called, Thomas Mack is the same as T-Mobile Arena, but the price is like an extra $1 million to rent the thing for the week.
And they're all like, oh, well, the guys banging the drums are getting paid, the DJ, like I get it. There's a couple problems. And listen, yes, ADCC was funded by the Sheik in the beginning. Yes, they have ridiculous amounts of money. But for years, I've said this on this podcast before, you can't run a business like a fucking Chechen warlord. You remember when the Chechen dudes were running their shows and just throwing cash at everyone? You know, like you can't just artificially inflate.
I don't know how I missed
You
that.
need to make a profit.
You have to make it profitable. So the minute Mo took it over, and he doesn't own ADCC. He's the I forget what his title is, but he's the event manager or whatever. He's the guy who puts them on.
Right. He still has bosses.
He's now showing that these things can be profitable. For 20, 30 years, these things have lost money, Last one, I think they broke even. Like Mo has put in a shit ton of money. Seth has put in a shit ton of money. They're all doing this for free. They're doing it out of the goodness of their heart, and they're getting fucking shit on by these guys. Now, yes, I would like to see athletes get paid more money. But if dollars and cents don't line up, it doesn't make sense. But the reason they're going into T-Mobile is because it's a huge... Have you ever been to T-Mobile?
I have, yeah.
So I didn't actually go inside. For the first time I saw it was this last time I was at West Coast. We were downtown, and I was like, holy shit, it's right here next to all these hotels and all this shit. It's in the middle of the fucking strip. But...
it's pretty damn cool.
It's pretty fucking awesome. Yeah. But it's not the awesome factor. It's if you can get 15,000 people to show up to T-Mobile, people take you serious.
Yeah.
And Mo missed the window for giant corporate sponsors this year. He's putting together a package saying, okay, look, we did Thomas and Mack, 15,000 people. We did T-Mobile. Maybe they sell it out, right?
It is sold out. Not maybe. It's already sold out.
It's not all
pretty damn close.
It's pretty damn close. It should sell out or at least close. If they can do that twice, right, and they can show this high production value, they can show all this stuff, they can attract corporate sponsors, which are going to bring in a lot of money, and then we can start talking about it.
That's interesting because I never thought about that big picture.
Yeah. Well, there's the other piece though. It's like if you made it so that especially at the trials, if you made it so that the competitors all got paid,
They're not
Bro,
going
how
to get
the
paid at
hell-
trials. Yeah, that's never going to
It's
happen.
never gonna happen at trials.
It's like the Olympic trials. Like
Maybe the winners.
Like the winners. I know Mo normally gives the winners some money.
Five,
you know,
five. I think it was 5,000, 1,500.
something like that. Something like that. He'll like sneak, and that's the
And
thing with
dude,
Mo.
Mo takes care of these
of these guys.
Mo-
Sorry, I interrupt. Go ahead, finish your point.
That's all I was saying was that. I'm sorry. If you were to
fucking
make
cigar.
it free, if you were to make it free, or worse, pay the competitors for something like the trials, like there'd be no way to vet. People would just be showing up just to get a paycheck.
Yeah.
And so now there's going to have to be a qualifier for the trials,
Yeah.
which is the open.
But I think they're
Yep.
moving towards that already. I think
don't
that's
think
coming
so.
soon.
I think they're
don't
gonna- I think
know.
they're
It's. I'll just tell you, as someone that competed in the trials for a very long time, and it is what it is. I'm not bitching about it, but like having to win 9 matches because every purple belt in
a lot.
fucking America
a lot.
thinks they got a shot at winning the trials, and
Yep.
like you're gonna beat that guy. But it's also one tough ass purple belt you
Yep.
got to get through, which is another fucking.
It's going to take a little something out of you.
It takes a little something out of you.
Yep.
It's. I think.
I
they
do
should
like
whittle
that they
down.
seed the guys better. Like Dylan
Yes.
had a great seeding.
Yeah.
John had a great
Well,
seeding.
now they have the trials,
And
the opens to do.
And that's the thing too, is like they're building the infrastructure, right? ADCC, dude, like you competed in the one in West Virginia. You know what it used to be like. Like
Yeah, it was in high school.
yeah, like I did the one in 2015, and that was like the first time it really started like getting bigger because it did in
Yeah,
Miami.
I think I
you know?
did
That
it.
was I did the one in
2015.
Miami,
Yeah.
What was the one that I think?
No, you
and I-
did 2017 when you were in Jersey.
2017. Yeah, in Jersey.
Yeah.
Jersey.
But like in the ones leading up to England, the one in China, like they were in West Virginia.
Yeah.
Like they used to do them in Evansville, Indiana.
The West Coast trials was the Miami was actually in the West Coast trials.
Was
because,
it?
Yeah, they actually had to move because they had to cancel in LA for some shit. So they had the West Coast trials
But
in Miami.
point being, like we are less than 10 years removed from the trials being in West Virginia,
Right.
right?
And
And
that's
then
present
now we're got the biggest trials in history. People are getting crazy. Like, yeah, you have to win 8 matches, but the infrastructure is there. If you do these opens, and this goes back to why you should do the opens. You do the opens, you will get seeded, right? You get seeded. I think Dylan was the number 7 seed at 145. John was the number 4 seed at 170. You know why? Because they redeemed themselves in these opens. They medaled multiple times, took on big guys, and guess what? They got a bye first round because of that. So now they got to win 7 matches to win.
And
instead of
Dylan
8.
at one point was ranked number 1, which was amazing.
Yeah, he was number 1 at 60 kilos, 132 pounds.
Yeah,
you
that
know,
was
he's still
crazy.
top 5. You know,
Yeah.
but he's just not cutting the 132 anymore. You know,
Right.
but
On a side note, before the opens, they used to always give me a bye just because they liked me. But that's that was the secret to my success. They always gave me a first round bye, and then like the other oldest dude in the room for my second match. So.
But yeah, like the infrastructure's there. The pay's going to go up. Mo's not saying this is where it's going to fucking stay. Like it just takes time. Everyone's impatient, you know? Like if you look at the logistics, and the only reason I think about it now is because I got to give out fucking $100,000 at the end of the year, you know? Like I'm fucking, you know how many times I wake up in night sweats thinking about, oh shit, I got to pay someone $100,000 at the end of the year. And it's
And
like, if
are
you
the
don't,
competitors still paying?
no,
No, for the trials.
yes, for trials. Yeah,
They
yeah.
should.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they should, of course.
For
They have
trials. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No one's paying, trials. I think it's like $100 to register or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Well,
don't know.
that's good. I mean, they have to have some kind of
whatever.
like buffer.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of the issue I'm having with these open. I'm not having any issues, but like I'm not making these guys pay for these fucking qualifiers. It's
Yeah.
like show up and fucking compete, you know. But yeah,
And
like
if you do, God forbid.
yeah,
Oh God, if you make him come up with $100,
yeah,
it's like,
I know
how
a bunch
could
of
you-
fucking dumbass
yeah,
jiu-jitsu
whatever.
bums. I'm the people that keep me in this are going back to the Corby brothers. You know those dudes are fucking they have master's degrees and they're engineers working for the Navy.
That's what they're
Yeah, full time, right?
That's why
full-time.
they're so good at. That's why
Dude,
they're so
no
good
one
at it.
knows that. Like I got a bunch of media guys I'm working with now. So like next time I have the Corbies around, I'm gonna fucking make them sit down for an interview.
It just
and talk
goes to
them.
show that you don't need to be doing this full time every day, all day long.
But
to be
going back
great.
to those dudes, like DeAndre already punched his ticket. I have no doubt Gavin's gonna punch his ticket eventually. Like
Well, didn't he get second?
he got third.
He got third?
they're-
Okay.
we do teammates on the same side.
Okay.
But he's gonna come out and do a couple more of the qualifiers till he wins. But they're talking about, okay, cool. We won $100,000. We're gonna split it and we're gonna fucking put down payments on houses because we want to change our fucking families' lives. So it's like guys like that are the reason you fucking stick around in this shit. You know, when you got fucking dumbasses complaining, and Craig is not by any means. Like Craig, like I said in the beginning, Craig is one of those dudes where he's seeing there's a problem, and now he's trying to make a solution. He's gonna do this donation seminar or whatever, and take all the money and give it to the athletes that lose on day one. The rest of these guys are just bitching and not doing anything to fucking fix it. You know?
You know, there's a problem too, though, and it's nothing at all. No one's to blame. It's just a real issue, and it's the idea when I have kids that come in that are 18, 19 years old, and they tell me they want to be in the ADCC, and in my mind, same thing when I have someone says they want to be in the UFC. Like when they come into me and I look at this kid and I think to myself, like, I don't think you understand what it's going to take, what you're going to have to sacrifice to be able to get to that big podium. Like, and the Corby brothers, bless their hearts, they're exceptions.
Yep.
You know what I mean? They are special people.
And they've also been doing it since they were kids.
And they've been doing it since they were kids. Same thing with the other guy, Sergio, that wins every year in my weight division. The kid, the guy, the lawyer.
Sergio's is Paul Ardea.
Paul Ardea,
Sergio's
right.
the brother.
Yeah, anyway, he wins every year in my division. But he's a attorney, successful attorney.
Yeah.
Like, I think we're almost growing apart from that.
Yeah.
If you're not
Heaviest weight classes are going to be last,
Yeah.
you know, obviously, because those athletes go do real money shit. But
if
like,
you're not training full time and you're not dedicating your entire life to jiu-jitsu, you're just not going to win. And by doing that, you have to sacrifice, which means you got to live at your mom's house.
Yeah.
Or you got to freaking not be able to go out. You got to live
But that's
like
the
a
point,
bum
though.
to
These guys aren't doing that, and they're winning. Right?
Yeah.
DeAndre and
there's exceptions, you know,
Right.
and I that's what I'm starting to look for more now too, because like you and I talked about before, like I don't look for fucking talent or potential anymore. Like fuck that.
look for the ability to be able to do it.
The grinders, you know,
the
like
grinders.
if you got a guy who's working on his master's degree and still training twice a day, Jared Dopp used to do that. Jared
Yeah.
was working on a PhD,
Yeah.
you know, and he took
remember Jared.
silver at ADCC Worlds, you know, like granted, I don't know if that can happen anymore at the heavyweight division, probably, you know,
Right.
but like he was a PhD student.
is the ADCC World's the gi tournament?
No, ADCC Worlds is the world championship at the end of the world. You win trials, you get there.
And it's
you
the
know?
same-
Which one is the gi?
Abu Dhabi Pro.
Oh, that's right.
They
Sorry.
still do that. They still do Abu Dhabi
Yeah.
Pro? It's every year though. It's not
Yeah,
every 2 years.
AJP or something like that. I don't know.
But I mean, you're right, and it's for the same reason why you go after the old dudes that freaking just want to train a couple days a week because they got the money
Yep.
and they have the ability to be able to maintain. Like these young kids that come in, they have no jobs, they got no life. They're gonna end up knocking up their girlfriend. They're gonna end up freaking having to go get a job somewhere. They're not gonna continue to train, so it's almost not worth pushing them to be able to do that because they're not gonna be able to fall through with it.
Yeah, I what I've done now too is like, and Danny's a good example, and I mean, like you do it too, but you take these guys that want to do it, you teach them how to coach too, because like I think that was my big not mistake, but like Bill always fucking pushed on me. He's like, listen, you got to be able to do something else, you know, and pushed me on the business side, and that helped. But like, I study a lot of like great football coaches, and Nick Saban just retired, and he retired partially because of the NIL deal, because they're all about the money now. And his wife would always have the moms over for dinner and be like, look, your kid comes here, he's gonna be like my son, I'm gonna take care of him. And the moms didn't care about that. They were just wanting to know how much money the kid was gonna make.
Right.
So they used to instill these values and how to like do something besides football so you're not going to be a failure the rest of your life. There's nothing like that in jiu-jitsu, you know? So that's something I'm trying to do now too with the competitors is like, okay, look, yes, we're going to make you great competitors, but like, God forbid you blow your ACL and you don't want to do this anymore. You don't want to be fucked. You don't want to be working at McDonald's, you know? So like learn how to run a business. Part of the reason I'm doing the watch shit too is like, I got this guy, he fucking runs watches for me now. You know, he fucking goes out, makes sales for me, comes back, that kind of shit. You got to either learn a trade, learn how to run a business, learn how to run a gym, something like that, because the window to be a competitor is short and there's not a lot of money in the sport unless you're Gordon and Craig, you know, those guys. Cool. But like there's maybe 10 guys in the sport that make life-changing money, right? The rest of them are making like 40, 50 grand a year. You know, that's not going to fucking do shit, you know?
Dude, one thing I've been around quite a few highly successful athletes, quite a few highly successful people, particularly athletes. And one thing I've always noticed, and if you just look down the road, like why guys are great, the difference between good and great is character.
Yep.
And it's across the board. It's what gets you out of bed. It's what drives you when you don't feel like doing it anymore. Gordon Ryan, you can say whatever you want to about him. That dude will do everything he can do to get to the gym. He'll probably do whatever he can do to help out his competitors and his fellow people and all that stuff. Like he's known to do that.
Yeah.
You have to have character to make it to that next level.
Yeah, it's discipline is doing what you're supposed to and no one's looking, you know?
Exactly.
And most of these fucking guys, and I think it's just because there's been, for the longest time, such a low barrier to entry in jiu-jitsu. The athletes weren't there. People could get away with doing the bare minimum, being successful because of talent. Now it's starting to go away. Now it's the disciplined guys that are going to win.
Right. So real quick, I know we're getting close to that hour.
Hey, you fucking haven't even talked about Sapatiero at all, Kevin Gallagher.
I'm getting there. We're gonna close
What about
it
this
out.
$100,000 tournament? What about me flying you around the country?
We're gonna close it out. I left the biggest one for last. We'll put it in bold. We're gonna do a freaking whole promo for you and everything. The ADCC World Championships are coming up.
Yes.
And every year there's always going to be a few guys that have their breakout moments.
Yep. Trials and World Championships make heroes.
Tell me who's on your radar. Obviously, Corby.
Yep, Corby. At 45, Corby. Diego Pato had a really good year last year. Pato's great. Corby's good. At 77, I'm trying to think. Who won 77 this year? Tacking won 88. Oh, Lil Tacking won.
Little Tack, yeah.
Andrew, definitely someone to watch. But I mean, Mo says it too. Like, Worlds is different than trials.
All these guys have been there, done that.
Yes, and I think JT is gonna have a good year at 77. I think he had a tough one last cycle. I think he's gonna come back, do well this year. I wouldn't be surprised if PJ Barch has a really good year. 88, William Tackett.
PJ.
PJ is
such a good
awesome.
kid,
88, Badoni, obviously. 99. Did you see they fucking Cyborg went down to -99?
Did you really?
Yeah.
How the hell did you do that?
He's gonna fucking lose. The piece of shit.
That's a horrible idea.
But one thing is, like, as you get older, you should go up weight classes because you're fucking slow. Your strength goes, or your strength never goes, but the speed does. He's going down.
Is he going to beat Gordon or no?
Gordon's 99 plus. Yeah,
99 plus.
Yeah, probably doesn't want to run into Gordon. Obviously, Gordon's going to win 99 plus. -99. I wouldn't be surprised if Sergio or now you got me doing it. Paul has a good run at -99 this year. I'm trying to think who else. Craig's not in there. Yeah, -99 is wide open right now. But I'd say watch out for the Corby brothers. Corby brothers, and then Andrew Tackett, and obviously JT Torres.
Cool. So to close it off. Obviously, you are running your Sapatiero $100,000 qualifier.
Yes.
We're going from city to city across the country. I'm super excited to be on board as a commentator. I promise to work on my names. I'm going to get better at what I do. The first one was a little bit shaky, but I'm going to be better. I promise. I bring a certain element. So
you got Jay Reglabuda this time. You better step up, man.
I got Jay.
Yeah,
Me and Smash Bet Jay. We're on. We got that.
Yeah.
We got it. He'll seamlessly cover for me. He's my dog. But the thing I'm trying to get, tell me a little bit about what you're doing, and tell me a little bit about what Enigma brings to the table and helps you out with.
All right, so we're doing a $100,000 tournament in December at 160 pounds. There's 12 qualifier spots throughout the year. We're doing qualifiers, 8 invite qualifiers, 4 open qualifiers. The open qualifiers are probably going to be in September after ADCC. We're going to do them around the country. Those are going to be $100, $125 registration. Anyone can enter. Whoever wins that is going to get a spot. The invite qualifiers, I'm handpicking people to come in and compete. The winners get a spot. DeAndre just won in Tampa last month. We're going to Bethlehem this weekend. Shout out to Zach Meslani, Finishers Jiu Jitsu, the origin of, like, they're the reason I started doing this shit because they did a tournament 6 months before me. I was like, I can do that shit. And they're the reason we're in there. So, 12 guys win their way into a qualifier. 4 guys get invited by me and sponsors. We're going to get a big fucking venue in Tampa in December. Make sure it's not around Nogi Worlds. And we're going to fucking sell it out, put on a fucking show, and someone's going to walk out with grand prize $100,000.
Dude, I mean, I will tell you just from experience of sitting Matt side. First of all, it is absolutely exciting. Like, I can't tell you how much fun I had watching this. I can't tell you how much I enjoy and love the fact that you are sticking to your guns on the ADCC rule format. I think it is the most spectator-friendly form of jiu-jitsu there is.
Yeah.
Stick to what works. And I'm gonna do everything I can. I got a lot of ballers in South Tampa.
Yeah,
I'm
we need
gonna do
to.
everything again, sell it out.
I'm gonna try to figure out. So in the next few months, I'm gonna figure out where we're gonna do it. I'm trying to decide between. There's some big arenas we can do. Close down the upper section and then do floor and lower bowl. Mm-hmm. There's like a 1,500, 2,000 seat arena in Sarasota. I'm looking at some theaters in Tampa and St. Pete area. Because me, I like the theaters. I like the smaller, more intimate shit where people are on top of stuff.
Mm-hmm. It was funny. I was telling the story. I was in one of the shows. I forget which one. I think the one before last. And these 2 jiu-jitsu guys are up there wrestling, and I'm like, God, it's so fucking boring. And I turn around to the guy behind me. I was like, bro, watching jiu-jitsu guys wrestle is like so fucking painful. And then next thing I know, I look back and one of the dudes double legged the other one down a flight of stairs.
Yeah, Hunter
And I was
Cole.
like, I'll take that back.
Bro, that thing got 500,000 views.
Bro, I was just like,
Yeah.
right after I said it too. And then those
Yeah.
guys go flying down the
I
stairs.
think with the ADCC rules, we're trying to get away from the stages just because that happens.
Yeah.
You know?
Let them go at it.
Yeah. But yeah, it's gonna be good, man. And Enigma, so Enigma is kind of like Flow. You know, they're a streaming provider. They're better than Flow, which is hilarious because it's run by a 22-year-old kid. And it goes to show you, a 22-year-old kid can do better than Flow.
Right?
You know, so yeah, we partner with them. I signed a multi-year deal with them, and they're broadcasting all the events. You know, so we're doing a little bit of a takeover. I think we're gonna see more and more events switching over to Enigma just because there needs to be a competitor, you know, like we've said it for years. Fight Pass does great, but they don't really.
Who are the brothers, the
Grappling's the
Rotolo
secondary.
brothers?
The Rotolo brothers.
Aren't they contracted with some other
One
organization?
FC. One FC.
Which is
yeah.
might go under pretty soon. So that's up.
We'll
that's
see.
up- what's up?
We'll
As
see.
grapplers, though.
As grapplers. One FC runs grappling promotions.
So they
as well.
can't do ADCCs.
No, they can do ADCC. So they can do IBJJF and ADCC. They can't do flow grappling events. They can't do other events.
Oh, is that how it works? They have
Yeah,
one
Yeah, but
contract?
Flow, well,
Same thing with
Flow
Gary.
does ADCC.
yeah, but it's not a flow event. It's an ADCC event.
And those guys already punched their ticket anyway.
Yes. Ty took third in the absolute last year, and King
Yeah, I'm
won.
sure they're in.
Yeah,
they're in
so they get invites. But yeah, one's doing a lot of shit. There's a lot of competition out there in grappling right now. You know,
I love that too. I mean,
I love it too. Yeah,
I flow grappling. I've got a love hate with them. I don't
dude.
really watch
And
much flow
listen,
grappling.
like they do. They're part of the reason grappling's big now. You know,
Right.
they had their. Not that their time's over, but they got to do more, man. That's part of the reason I'm doing this. Like BMAX doing the PGF, that's got $100,000 prize for the winning team. You know, I'm doing mine, $100,000 tournament. Spider in Korea did one like fucking 2 years ago. Where's Flow Grappling with this big fucking money? You know, like
taking all that money, put it in their pocket.
Yeah.
And they didn't give Nicky Ryan like a hotel to come sign.
Did they get
Yeah.
bought, Flow Grappling? Because what is, you got the whole Flow everything.
yeah, it's Flow Sports, and dude, you can Google Flow Sports white pages, and it'll show you how much investment they have had. $75 million in investments over 4 rounds of angel
Didn't
investing.
AJ Agazarm work for
AJ
them?
Agazarm was
He's
one of the
big guys that put it together.
he was one of the beginning guys. I think he still has a small piece of
started as
ownership.
Flow Wrestling, and he brought in.
Yeah,
he brought in
so
Flow
the
to
Floriani
grappling
brothers,
part.
you know Rockfin, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so Martin Floriani runs Rockfin. Him and his brother started Flow. I think Martin's out. I think there's another one that's part of it. They started as like Flow Wrestling, Flow Grappling. It's a conglomerate, right? There's Flow Cheer, Flow fucking Track, Flow everything, you know? So they make a shit ton of money. Flow Grappling, I don't know how much that actually makes, but like the real fucking issue is the guy fucking signing the checks and making the deals. Ricardo Amendolia is a piece of shit. And like, you know, it's time for them to fucking open up the checkbook and fucking put on these big tournaments.
They're making money.
They're making money. Everyone's making money.
Don't say that.
Everyone's making money.
And that's
Like-
you can yell at Mo all you want. The real
Yeah.
person to yell at is the people.
Exactly.
That's
That's what it comes down
ADCC in
to.
a contract with Flow Grappling?
Yeah, so ADCC was going to be with Fight Pass, and then Fight Pass didn't have the ability to stream multiple mats at the same time. So with all the opens, they're all streamed on Flow, all the mats simultaneously. So because of that, they left Fight Pass and went back to Flow.
I'm just wondering if we're going to see a switch to Enigma by ADCC at some point.
No. I mean, eventually, maybe. You know, I wouldn't be surprised. Like, they're doing some shit. You know, like Enigma currently has. They run big tournaments. They just did a $10,000 tournament in Boston that Max Hansen won. He beat Taz in the finals. A lot of world champions were in there. He's got another show in April. So Enigma TV and Enigma Jiu Jitsu are two separate things. TV is a streaming service. Jiu Jitsu is kind of like Sapatiero. They run their events. You know, Iron Man Grappling, Connecticut's part of it. There's a couple other tournaments. Tap Tournament, New York. There's a bunch of people on the platform right now, and it's growing. So I think we're a
Can
while.
we address the elephant in the room that
Yeah.
we haven't talked about all day?
Yeah.
The fact that Donald Trump is the one who actually, gave you the money for this this
It's
$100,000.
huge. If it wasn't for President Trump, we would be completely fucked.
Yeah. So let's just give him his credit.
old small hands himself.
Small hands saving jiu-jitsu.
All right. On that note, I think it's time to call it a night. Call it an afternoon. Thank you very much, Josh Leduc, Star-Lord, for coming on. We really appreciate you having you here. Looking forward. If you haven't seen it yet, go check out Sapatiero. The $100,000 qualifier is absolutely amazing. Some of the best matches out there. Go look up Enigma TV. And if you're in the Sarasota area, greater Palmetto area, you can go check out North River Jiu Jitsu or Gracie Bradenton. if you're in Tampa, come check me out at Gracie Trinity. I think that's going to be it. Josh, anything else you want to add?
I'm gonna. If you're snoring this weekend, I'm gonna take a video and put it up on your
Do you
YouTube
think we'll
page.
see Gordon drop weight to 160 to do the 100,000 tournament?
He doesn't need $100,000. he won the first
Not
160.
enough. Not 100 grand ain't enough to get him.
No.
Up on 160. That being said, Rod, cue the music. Thank you very much. We'll see you guys next week. Boom.